everybody, welcome back. Remind you, hopefully if everything goes to plan tomorrow, hooded sweatshirts, vbeltandsun.com. Got the patch on the back. Check it out. Also, hats are always available. Going back, I gotta give you guys a quick reminder of everything we've gone through with Grandma's truck. And I wanted to make a unique truck. Take an automatic, put a stick shift in it, but I didn't want a 5-speed. Let's go 6-speed. So I put an MV5600 in there. Out of my 04, I replaced it, but I kept the old one. Long story, but the old one is still perfectly fine. I don't know why I ever did it, but I'm going to use the transmission nevertheless. And I needed a new engine. We went back in time and tried to bring back the old engine, the old 12 valve that came out of Grandma's 97 truck. And we tried, you know, unsuccessfully. But we found out it was in fact still a bad engine. It might be a block, might be a cracked head, don't know. We'll dive into that like later in time. But I found at the time it was an awesome deal on a Ppump swap 24 valve. It was a 55 block, long block 24 valve that somebody put a Ppump on. I heard it fire up on an engine stand. It sounded great, but man, it sounded great until I hooked up the turbo to it. Since then, I've done rod bearings, main bearings, checked the cam, checked the tappets, checked everything possible. And in this video, my good buddy Roland came up from Texas and hung out here for the weekend. Heck of a drive. He ended up spending 4 days in the shop, him and I slaving away on 3 different engines. But this one engine had a knock. Don't know what's still knocking, but what we tried to do is put a new set of 50 horse injectors from power driven diesel in there and some new push tubes. So we're going to see if that actually cleans it up. But we're going to go back in time so you can join in with Roland and I messing around with the truck. And we're going to take it for a test drive and see how well, how much more horsepower do you really feel with 50 horse injectors. Because I've always kind of been like, oh, if you're going to get injectors, might as well bump up 50 horse. But we'll see how that does. Mr. Roland Pope is here, and well, he brought me the final savior of Grandma's engine, or the new injectors that I got from Power Driven Diesel. He's going to swap those out real quick while I'm working on the maybe new engine, maybe not new engine. So I'm going to...
We got 2 options. We're either have a new engine or get this one fixed.
While Roland is knocking out the new 50 horse injectors on the Ppump swap 24 valve, I am tearing into the new-ish engine that we were going to use for a backup plan. It ended up being the worst engine out of the lot because it got rained in. But nevertheless, we're trying these injectors because I bought them and I wanted to find out if it was a fuel knock, if it was a leaky injector. All that we've done to this so far is it's got 3,000 governor springs in it, 0 fuel plate, and then a simple HX35 turbo. Other than that, I bumped up the timing. At this point in time was 18 degrees.
Nothing else we can really do up here.
I don't necessarily say it got worse. It's like some days it sounds really shitty, and then some days it just sounds kind of like I can kind of hear it. And maybe we're on one of those days where we can just kind of hear it, and we'll have to pull that other engine and put in it. But new 50 horse injectors. Roland installed those in all about like 35 minutes. Tramp.
None of the time or two.
Yeah. I just figure I'd rather let you do it rather than.
Yeah, I haven't messed with 24 valve in a while. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. They're pretty easy swapping those injectors.
Mm-hmm. They're not rusted in like 12 valves.
Like the engine is like clean. Like there was no rust on the top of anything. Like it seemed pretty damn nice. But,
yeah.
Well,
we're gonna throw everything together, I think, and start it up and see if we can still hear the knock. Right now, it sounds perfect in my opinion, but I don't know. It's still a cold motor, so we need to let the oil warm up and thin out, and then see where it goes from there.
It doesn't seem like. Normally, when I fire it up cold, when it first fires over, maybe because we were cranking it though, it had some oil circulating. That probably would have changed it. But normally, if you just dead fire it, until oil pressure.
Well, in the videos, I could see it. I could hear it. Like as soon as it hits, you could. It's pronounced as hell. That's right there.
So, but you didn't hear it just now. But it's hard saying since we cranked it for a minute.
And the intake's off and everything, so it's kind of loud anyway. So. I can't feel it. It's so weird about it. I feel like just something's rubbing.
Yeah.
The crank comes around. Either the crank's rubbing on something or the rod is rubbing on something. I mean, the in play on the rod.
Well, there was. Yeah. No, we checked all that.
In play on the crank?
Yeah. Checked them all. Everything was checked.
And you run it with the transmission off of it?
Yeah. Well, it's very loud.
Yeah.
It was, and then I did the mains rods and everything and fired it up, and it was still there, but it cleaned up real good. But it was still there. Cleaning up, it's still there. And then
I wonder if you messed up a cam follower. Cam in there.
At this point in time, I have to admire my own self, not to, you know, I mean, I've put myself in a bad spot, but I've kept my composure pretty well. It's been a really kind of expensive endeavor going that route and then having essentially an engine that sucks. But we didn't get anywhere with the new injectors, but we ruled out the fuel knock, so we thought we would go and redirect all our energy to those two other engines. That one was reined in, junk. We worked on Grandma's. There's something still cracked inside of it. We didn't fix a crack, but we now know that it's not a head gasket failure making the milky oil. So we went back to the Ppump swap because there was still one last thing that we have not looked at, and that is the tappets and the cam. I've done the low end, the bottom end stuff. I've inspected that and or replaced the stuff in the bottom end. The valve train's fine. So we're gonna pull the cam. When we pulled the cam, everything looked perfect. I mean, it looked like it had some miles on it, but it wasn't anything that would scare you from putting it back in the engine. All but one tappet had a little bit of resistance, but pulled it out, looked at it, looked fine, checked everything with a straight edge, nice and straight. Put it back in there, wiggled it around a little bit, and it had no more resistance. It was fine. Then Roland had to go back home. He had to go his 30-hour trip back down to Texas, driving his old Chummins. I'm going to make a video on that truck too. We took it for a rip, and it is fun. It is a weird experience, Ford with a Chummins in it. But the way the engine sat when he left, we put the cam back in it. The valve train was still off, and we had one more option to test, and that is bump the timing up even more. There's a guy, Dakota, I think he's in Vegas. People told me to reach out to him and see what he said, and he recommended I bump the timing up to, he says between 20 and 26 degrees advance is what Ppump swap 24 valves like. So I said, hell, I think I'm only at 18. I went to 22. I just put another 4 degrees on it to see if that would do anything while I'm putting everything back together, because I had to retime it since the we had valve or the gearing apart and stuff like that. And now I got to take for a rip. Because I put the 50 horse injectors in it, even though we still got a knock, I've still driven the truck. I'm going to find out if we can still feel any noticeable gain with 50 horse injectors. See if those are actually worth buying, or should I just got hundreds for the next adventure. It sounds so good when you're ripping it up the highway. To summarize how the Ppump 24 valve configuration feels as per in the driver's seat, I didn't film anything when I was driving it because I was man's mission, hardcore shifting. And it feels awesome. That truck has always felt good pulling up hills with the Ppump swap 24 valve. I love it. It feels great, except for it's got that annoying and, you know, embarrassing knock. We're going to tear into that when I pull this engine to put the new one in. You guys will see that new engine pretty quickly because it's been such a painful just experience trying to find a good engine. Trying to either spend 10 grand and buy one, which I was willing to do, but man, not really. People wanted to call me back. And then buy a parts truck. Buy a two-wheel drive, low mile 12 valve and take that engine and put it in here. Or find a wreck truck. Nobody wants to call back. I don't get it. Why do you post something for sale and then, anyway, call people back if you post something for sale. I don't get it. If you want to sell it, you gotta call them back. But to talk about these 50 horse injectors, the whole moral of this video, I suppose, are they worth it? How do they feel? Because it's a simple little upgrade compared to like 100 horse or 150 horse or whatever. I think they should probably just bump up to 100s because I couldn't really tell much of a power difference. This truck rips with the, you know, the RPMs. The throttle response on this configuration is awesome. It's a different beast than anything I've ever driven. And if you guys are new to the channel, I don't own just this one truck. And by the way, Grandma's truck, I call it Grandma's truck. It is my truck. She gave it to me, so I'm not going to give her the truck back. People keep asking that. But I love how this feels. Maybe I'll take this long block and delete it. I mean, as in get rid of that long block because it sucks and it knocks. And I'll put the Ppump swap on a good running 24 valve and see how much we can have fun with that. But until then, we have a few less valves going back into the truck. I gotta do some, you know, fixing up of the new engine, but it's a known good runner and it should be fun. But the 50 horse in these should pull good. I think we're lacking in the boost department. Roland did mess with the wastegate a little bit while he was here, and we're still only peaking like 30 psi, which it's safe, but it's not very powerful because you got all that fuel, but then if you don't have any boost to throw at it, it kind of sucks. But I would just as soon go with hundreds. Roland actually put 100 horse injectors in his 12 valve, I think, or did he go with 50s? He might have went with 50s, but he said he could notice a difference in his 12 valve. Let me read what he just texted him because I was telling him about that. Oh, he went 5x11, so like 50 horses he put in his. He noticed a difference of 2 miles to the gallon fuel efficiency increase. So 50 horse injectors, they could be beneficial, but for power wise, and you're really trying to see performance, I'd probably go with at least hundreds or 400s or 5 millions. Go with 5 millions. We're gonna end it here, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. I had this footage lying around. I wanted to give an update on that, but the next time you see Grandma's truck, that engine is coming out of here. And no, I'm not selling anything off of it. If I'm selling something, I will let you know, but just stop asking. But anyway, guys, have a great Saturday. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment below what you guys are doing on this weekend, because I am going to a wedding. I wish I was going to go get, it's not my wedding, I wish I was going to go get my new Diamond C trailer. It is ready and at the dealer. I gotta wait another week. We'll see you guys. Thanks for watching.